did know Dallas, and so she was kind of showing Gene Hill around Dallas, and I'll just let her pick it up from there if you don't mind.
I think I'll drop it.
Well, you're going to drop it. Gene, just go ahead and pick it up from what you saw in Dealey Plaza.
Well, I told this story, last month? And strange as it seems, at that time, I hadn't read anything. Meant to come over, but I just would never get around to it. Then when this trip to England came up, I decided, well, I believe I'll go over there and see what these assassination busts are up to. So, now then, since I made that first trip over here, I've been caught up in all this, and I don't know now what I read and said and what I didn't. So you better lead the witness.
No.
I mean, last time when I was over here, the first time I really talked to anybody about it, other than just sort of, behind closed doors kind of thing, because I didn't want anybody to think I was really a nut like Arlen Spector told me I was. And who, by the way, Arlen Spector was chief counsel for the Warren Commission that interviewed me for the Warren Report, and told me I was crazy and I should be put away and never heard from again. And I knew as much as the way people knew me, I knew they believed that I was crazy and I wasn't going to push it too far. But anyway.
You wouldn't have had to work too hard on it.
Mary and I went downtown that afternoon that morning for an entirely different matter. We decided we'd take some pictures of policemen that were going to be in the parade. And I, in fact, said, Mary, don't bother with the president. We can take his picture up anywhere. But she said that she wanted to get quite a lot of pictures, and for me to jerk them out of the camera and put the stickers on them, post pictures, and put them in the pocket. That's what I was doing, so she could keep shooting. And when we first went down there, I didn't know how to get there nor how to get back. I was very dependent on Mary for everything about Dallas at that time. We got down there early, and there was no one over in the triangle between, I think it's Main and Elm. Yeah, Main and Elm. Triangle of Main and Elm. There was no one on that triangle. Well, we wanted to go over there. We were stopped by the policeman at the corner, told us we couldn't go. Well, no one else could go either, but that didn't satisfy us. So, they just weren't letting anyone over there. That's all he said.
The only place on the whole parade route that was
That's right, and they would not let anyone supposedly over there. I mean, as early as we were there.
To me, that's very strange, because the whole purpose of the motorcade is let everybody have a chance to see the president.
But they
The only explanation I can even think of is that they didn't want anybody in the line of fire.
They already do.
So go ahead.
So anyway, Mary and I decided that, I sort of decided that I believe I could get that guy to let us go over there. So I went up there and spent quite a little time flirting with him. And don't look at me and laugh, because I didn't weigh but 100 pounds and I was dynamite. I went up to this policeman and I just pulled every trick I knew, and I just got him to saying that he wouldn't let anybody else but us go. So here we go trooping across, and the motorcade was coming, and we hadn't realized that there were as many people as had filtered in through there when with the press of the president coming. And so here we were thinking we were over there by ourselves, and there were so many people on the other side of the street that when the motorcade came down, Mary took a picture of the lead motorcycle in which we got the school book depository from our angle of taking the picture. and some photos that they talked about. But the president was looking up toward the school, or at least to that direction. I'm going to say was looking up toward it, because he wasn't. He was looking out at the crowd there, waving and, general kind of thing. And I jumped out in the street because I knew he was not going to take, looking over at us, and I'm thinking we're the only ones over there, and I thought, oh, he's not going to look at us anyway. You're not going to get to take a picture of him. So I jumped out in the street and I just touched his collar, but something told me you don't do that. So just as I said, hey, Mr. President, look this way, we want to take your picture, because it was right, really close to him. Just about that time, the bullets started coming, and his head flew off and all that kind of thing. And I had jumped back up on the curb. Mary fell down to the ground saying, it's kind of like a gopher saying, get down, they're shooting. Well, as I said, I was just too stupid to get down. I got down once and tried to help her up, and she wouldn't get up. And so I thought, well, we'll just have to stay here. And I kept looking because I wanted to see where everything was happening. And in fact, I saw a man running, walking very quickly. I mean, very fast. He was on the south side of the book depository, towards the west end. He was headed to the parking lot. I don't know why I thought I could do anything, but it was kind of a moment frozen in time. It was just everyone was just kind of, for an instant there, nothing was moving. I looked around, it was not a thing moving. And when I saw something moving, and that man was it, I decided I'd go chase him. And so I cut across the motorcade. In fact, the man that was right on Kennedy's wheel almost hit me, because he was looking all around for people that were firing. And I yelled at him because I thought he was going to hit me, and finally got out of his way and ran on across the motorcade route.
Just like, excuse me, but didn't you, at the time of shooting, didn't you also look up and see some kind of activity on the knoll?
Yes. That's where I thought the shot came from.
All of them?
Yes, that's where I thought they were coming from.
What exactly did you see?
And I saw a puff of smoke in the bushes on the Grassy knoll, right at the top of the Grassy knoll, and thought that that's where the shots were coming from.
By the way,
But I thought they were all coming from this direction in front of me and even toward the railroad tracks, really. But I mean, I saw the smoke in the bushes.
So, at any time, did you consider shots came from the building?
No, I really didn't. I mean, I've heard that since then, and heard it at the time. So I said, well, I've even told people, well, I guess maybe I just couldn't believe my own ears.
Gary, let me point out something here too. It'd be senseless to get her to go walk over there and point or anything, especially now that we've talked so much about Benjamin and everything. But last month when she was here, everybody's here to verify this, we said exactly, could you point out where you saw this puff of smoke, this activity, behind some kind of movement behind the fence? And she went and pointed to the north leg of the picket fence, about 10 feet north, exact location of Benjamin.
But I didn't know what they were talking about then.
That's right. That was before she was even aware of it. Okay, so now you decided to chase the man you saw in front of the park.
Yeah.
And you crossed the street.
Then you want me to tell that now?
Yeah, you did. I love it. My favorite part.
So I went running across the parade route, trying to catch this man. Don't know what I was going to do with him if I caught him, but I was going to lay hold on him. So, in all the movies you see and television, the good guys and the bad guys go at it. And I figured we'd had some good guys and bad guys that day. Because I always thought the Secret Service and everything shoots back. So I thought, part of the bullets had to be people shooting back. And so I thought, I'll help. So I was running up that hill on the other side of the street. And I looked down and saw this blood, and I knew I could follow the trail of this blood, and I could apprehend this man, or this whatever. was looking and studying this flood and walking on up the hill looking at it. And it was a snow cone. So my trail of blood just kind of dwindled out into the cup, you know.
A red snow cone cup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh-huh. Yeah.
Just to the
No,
east of the
just-
step.
Just on the grass there. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, where do you think the snow cone came from?
From a snow cone man.
Where am I gonna go? There's a guy standing on the steps, as you know, why they don't have to have the snow cone on?
Who knows?
There is a reason behind it, but it may not be apparent.
Okay, I don't know your reason or mine. All I know is I saw it on the ground.
It was still there.
Right, very fresh.
But it's on the truck.
Right. And,
I think what Gary's getting at, though, you did not see anybody holding the snow cone prior to
I
that.
did not, no, never would have called it blood. And, so, but that did serve to distract me from my quest of this person that was moving. And of course, everything exploded into movement. It didn't stay still very long. And, so I decided I would go on up and go into the parking area where this man was running to, and I would find him there, and I could find these people.
There is photographs showing her doing this.
And then I could find these people in the bushes. Because I knew they'd still, they'd be trying to get out of there too. And I didn't know whether they were our guys or their guys. I just was going to go find them. And so when I got back there, of course, by that time people were coming from everywhere. And I'm walking around, and I did have a red raincoat on, and it was rather noticeable. And I'm looking just frantically in all directions, just trying to find this guy that I've been chasing. And about that time, two big guys came up and said, "You're going with us." And I said, "Oh, no, no, not me. I got to find these people." And they said, "No, you're going with us." And of course, not knowing any better, I didn't think I was, but I did. They grabbed me and put some kind of a hole here. Jim says he knows what it is. I've never heard of it, and I don't want to hear of it again. But they grabbed me.
Come along, hold,
Right.
get that muscle up there, and you go where they want you to go.
I've never had anything just shoot sudden pain through me like that. So when one of them did it, I thought I would go, and I went a little way with him, thought I'd jerk loose, and by that time the second guy grabbed me right here. And they didn't release their hands from my shoulders. They told me to smile, and I kept telling them I couldn't. But they said, "You just act natural," and for me at that time would have been strange anyway. But they told me to act natural, come with them and smile, and I started going with them because that's the thing to do when they've got you in that kind of grip. So, but I was worried at the time I wouldn't have any way to get home and that I'd be lost forever in downtown Dallas. And not knowing that they had Mary at the time, she'd already gone over to, where did we say we went?
Well, said they took her across City Plaza and into a multi-story building, and that they entered from the south entrance. And just from the direction and what she described it, it sounds like the Dallas County Sheriff's Office.
So
He
anyway,
took her upstairs into some offices upstairs.
yeah, so when we got in there, anyway, these men told me that they were Secret Service men. And,
At what point did they tell you they were Secret Service?
they told me at some time when they were manhandling me in the parking lot, when I wouldn't go.
Did they show you any identification or just tell you that?
I think they may have, I think they did something like this, but in the fury of the moment, you wouldn't have paid any attention, and not when you were hurting either. And so anyway, they, I think it was after I jerked loose the first time, and they decided they both told me, that they told me that, because I didn't know what I was seeing. So anyway, we went up to the Dallas County Sheriff's Department. And we were immediately, these same two men that grabbed me, took me on upstairs. And there were these men, and they had been watching this, they'd been watching the motorcade, and they obviously knew the two people that had apprehended me. And they said they were Secret Service. And they'd been sitting there watching the whole show. And they asked me, said, what did you think when the bullet hit at your feet? And I said, what bullet? I don't know that there was a bullet. I said, yes, there was. Said, didn't you see the puff of dust when it hit the concrete? And I said, I know. Or hit right around there. Said, we thought you all had been hit. We thought you or your friend had been hit. And I guess it was the time when I had gotten down to help Mary get up. Tell her to get up. But they thought we had been hit. At least one of us. And they asked me what did I jump out in the street for, and I told them I jumped out there to talk to the president, to yell at the president. And but I was so proud of myself because I told them, I said, but I knew better than to put my hand on the car. I thought I'd done all the good, and then they'd let me go. And I jumped back up on the curb when all the action started. So they kept us down there for the...
Before you go on, the significance of this thing to me is that there was somebody in an upper floor of the sheriff's department watching this scene.
Watching the assassination.
Watching the assassination. They saw bullets in the street. They saw ladies in red and black overcoats hit the ground, and then they sent people out to pick them up.
Yeah. Because it was Secret Service to pick me up, and undoubtedly had been sent by these people watching or something. Of course, I'm not going to speculate because since I've been coming over here, I can do all kinds of speculation. So leave anything out? What I go from here?
Go ahead and comment a moment.
Or if you want to come in.
Anyway, I tried to tell these people about the bullet, and they were asking me about what I saw, and I was trying to tell them about the number of bullets and so forth, and they told me that did I see anyone else shooting or anything?
Why don't you go ahead and explain about the dog,
Oh.
the puppy.
Oh, at one time, right after they took us in there, they kept poking us in front of cameras and television cameras and so forth. And I'll tell you the other thing too. I had on a brand new blouse that had come with some outfit I had. But it looked just like a tablecloth in an Italian restaurant. These little red check things, And when they took us in front of one TV show, I said, I started unbuttoning my blouse, and I was going to take it off. And Mary said, what in the world are you doing? I said, I'm taking this blouse off. I'm not letting people all over the world see me in this tablecloth. And she said, but you don't have anything on under it. You can't, just as I got to the last button. I was ready. I wasn't letting the world see me in a tablecloth. I said, well, get me my raincoat because I'm not having this scene anywhere. And so one of my first comments was that something about seeing a dog in the seat. And I made the remark to Mary, while we've been waiting around there, while they had us here, there, and yonder. Why would anybody have a dog on, I can see Liz Taylor and all these people with a dog, but why the Kennedys, this kind of thing. Well, what I had done is I didn't focus on that car, and the Warren Commission made very much of the fact that I was not a good witness because I'd seen a dog. But what I really saw was I saw something fuzzy or when I looked right into Kennedy's face, And I wasn't looking into the last, but you know how your peripheral vision is, you see things, but I didn't focus on that. I just know there was something there. And when they first asked me right after it happened, I said, it must have been a dog. So then they blew that all up and said, oh, the poor old thing saw a dog.
What did our inspector say to you? Did he make a big deal out of that?
Oh,
when he was interviewing you?
he told me, anybody that sees a dog in a car it won't be hard to declare them insane. But if they can call it, Rosie's a dog, there's something wrong with them, real serious. And we can put you away and you'll never be hurt from it.
What was his quote about Marguerite Oswald?
And he told me that, we could make, if we could make you appear as mentally incompetent as Marguerite Oswald. And everyone knows how crazy she is. And we can do it for you too. And I mean, I didn't doubt it.
Now, was that before that he started to question you officially, or is that during?
We never really had an official time. When I walked in there, he said he wanted to talk to me off the record. And that's when he pulled in some information about my family, my impending divorce, my children. But the thing was, it said in there that I replied to all these things, but our inspector knew the ages of my children, the names of my children. He knew all about my marital status. He knew how long I had been in Dallas. And I thought I was there to tell him things, and yet he sat there and told me the whole first part of it. And we talked a while, and I said, you said this is off the record, and yet this lady's taking all of it down. I don't want it down. And then you told me that you would not put it down if you told me it was going to be off the record.
Did you take this down even though?
Right. And there was not a court reporter. Jim was asking me about it. There being a court reporter there, and I said, no. It's only a lady taking shorthand.
No microphone?
No microphone.
No recording?
No recording.
This is at Parkland?
At Parkland. I was the only person other than medical personnel that was interviewed at Parkland. And I had never seen my Warren Commission report until the girl from England sent me a copy of it. And I got it I got it a week ago Monday. And I read that, and the first thing that came out at me, and of course I didn't notice when I was telling Jim and this group over here that I was interviewed at Parkland. You know, I was just telling it because I knew I was the only person interviewed other than medical personnel at Parkland. Because I saw on TV all these other characters going down to the post office or wherever else it was. And then, when I see my Warren Commission report, the first line said, Gene Hill was interviewed at the U.S. Post Office building.
Was there some difficulty in scheduling you?
No, I just wouldn't go.
Go ahead and explain to them why that you had been asked to come to Washington to testify, right, before the commission. Explain to them why you didn't go.
Well, I had been asked to go, in fact, I still have my subpoena, to go, and I would have gone on the same plane at the same time that Marina Oswald went. And this friend of mine, who was a Dallas cop, who was riding in the motorcade, that I wanted a picture of, because I wanted to get better acquainted with him, and by that time I had, told me he better not go because he won't come back. You know, I just don't think he'll make it. And so he wouldn't let me go. And that's when the FBI started trying to live with me. They, I think they had a substation on Bluff Creek there for a while. And then Garrison down in New Orleans sent his assistant and another man up to my house to interview me. And they kept telling me they could subpoena me to go. And I told them, yeah, you can. And you turn your recorder off, then I'll talk to you. And they looked at each other and said they didn't have a recorder and all this sort of thing. And I said, well, okay. If you don't turn the recorder off, I'm not talking at all. You can leave now. And you'll have to subpoena me. And because I'm not going. So finally one of them said, the assistant said to the other guy, said, So then I told them that I wouldn't go to New Orleans, and they said, of course, that they would get me there. And I said, well, but I'll do your case more harm than good, because I don't want to go. I'm not going to go. And if I do go, it's going to be, I'm just not the age of Big Brother yet, and you don't know what I remember. And I said, in your case, I'll remember everything detrimental to your case. I will not go. So I didn't go. At that time, a friend of mine who was a motorcycle cop in Mary Mormon went to New Orleans, and my friend called me from there that night after the first session that they had with Garrison, and he was a Dallas policeman, and he said, Garrison had something, and I think he may be able to pull it together and clarify the whole bit, but the government is not going to let him. He said he's going to be stopped. So we're going to make an action. Subsequently, we did. So I didn't go down there. I didn't go anywhere.
Tell us what some of your friends on the police force thought about the assassination. Kind of told us a little bit about that.
Which part? Give me a key word. Get my memory back.
Well, some of your friends seem to think it was a conspiracy.
Well, they did. They thought it was a conspiracy, and they thought that, they said that Tippett took Oswald away from the book depository, and that Tippett was down there at the time. And that's one thing that they said.
Did they know that, or did they suspect it?
They knew that.
No doubt in your mind, or their mind?
No doubt in my mind at all. And when they were telling it, there was no doubt in theirs.
You knew some of those guys well enough to know they were big guys in the
Yes, they did.
and there was no doubt.
There was no doubt. And I was told to keep my mouth shut completely.
What prevented some of the Dallas policemen from talking about what they did?
They were told that they would be fired, and not only that, they may not live.
Was any searches made of policemen to find out if they had
Oh, yeah.
anything?
Their lockers were searched. All their lockers were searched. The motorcycle jockeys had bags on their motorcycles. All of those were gone through, and that not one time, but many times. Their superiors or
Did
FBI.
they know who was doing it? Did they know who was doing it?
Well, we were told FBI. I mean, they were told FBI. And, or that some of their superiors had been told by FBI it had to be done.
And they were told by their commanding officers and/or sergeants or
Right,
whatever.
their
not to
sergeants.
talk.
Like, yeah.
Like third person?
Right.
First sergeant?
Right. One of your buddies.
Interestingly enough, I'll tell you who she's talking about. At the time, Martin, Billy Hart, all these were motorcycle jockeys. Their immediate sergeant was Joe Cody.
And, I mean, you know, things were said around my kitchen table in the months that followed that, we never talked about. And finally, it even got to where partners didn't tell partners as it happened to. Because that was the case of Mary Mormon's friend, who was the anchor man in the patrol that day. And he was B.J. Martin's partner. And they got to where they didn't even talk and wouldn't let each other even know what they thought about it or anything. They completely shut the police down. I mean, they effectively did too. And
Was there any rumor about any of the policemen who might have been involved in some way other than Tippett?
other than Tippett, I don't know. See, I'm hurt now. I'm hurt by the fact of what I've heard, and when I was, the other night, when the first time I talked about it, and everything would trigger something else and I'd remember. Now I don't know what I've heard and what I remember. You know, but it's very definitely different than it was the other night.
You mentioned the one, was somebody in Oklahoma?
Oh, the Herbert Philbrick thing? I had a friend in Oklahoma that, had a friend who was an attorney. They were very good friends, okay. This attorney, the attorney's friend was Herbert Philbrick, who was the person the TV show I Led Free Life was based on. And Herbert Philbrick, at the request of this attorney in Oklahoma City, came to Oklahoma City to address the Bar Association. And this was like 6 weeks, 2 months before the assassination. And Philbrick went back and was staying with the attorney in Oklahoma. And my friend had been invited to the Bar Association meeting that night just to hear Philbrick, and also went back to the attorney's house when Philbrick went back to his house with him. And they all got just roaring drunk, or at least Philbrick did. And it seemed sort of like and he described it as desperation drunk. That he was depressed, felt desperate, and he started talking about a plot within our own government to kill the president. And I had gone to Oklahoma City about 2 weeks before the assassination, and he was telling me this, and we talked about it for hours, about all the little things that Philbrick had said, and how he had said them, and all this, that he would be killed soon. And it would be a plot within our own high places in our own government. And of course, that back in the glorious, innocent days of the 1960s, that was a heresy. We just couldn't believe anybody would do anything like that, or that our government would be involved in secret. But if he knew it that many weeks ahead of time, how many others knew?
Then once you end up in this thing, based on where you are right now, what you know, what you've heard, what you believe, and particularly after all those discussions with Dallas police officers, what is the bottom line? What do you feel like happened? What did your police friends feel like it really happened?
As I said, Jim, now I've had too much assassination. I wish I could do it spontaneous again, but you know, now I'm influenced by the tapes I've seen and by all you people I've heard, and now I don't know what I believe and what I think I've heard, so I can't really say. You can remember what I said last time. That was it, buddy. Yeah, when Mary, they of course they grabbed our pictures and took them away. I had them in my pocket. I guess she could have had some. I don't think so. I think they had them all.
How many were there?
I think it was about 6 that we had.
Along with the question. The one that shows president, number 5. Mary had number 3. Brian. She was not having before. She doesn't even remember 1 and 2. Can you tell us about those?
Are you sure 3 was McBride? Well, the reason I say that, because he was the first person we were trying to get a picture of. I would think that would be picture number 1.
Number 3, they have number 2 in the back. The 4th was going.
Yeah.
1 and 2, something must happen to them, because
Y'all taking pictures before the
No,
meeting?
because she and I ran down, there was a Singer Harris at the time, I remember, not knowing anything about it. I mean, I had to rely completely on her, and she said, if we hurry, if we run down here real fast, we can get some film. And we went down there, and while we were standing, that, you know, I possibly remember that because we loaded the camera that morning.
they sure used cameras before.
I guess, I don't know. I didn't even think I.
Did you take any test pictures?
No.
Did you take one of these?
They could use use it because she says I've used up all my film, but she had to use it.
Did you take one?
No,
Or did you take
no,
one?
no. No, we were strictly gonna take pictures of assassination.
You have no better phrase.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know, again, she has, we thought, hanging out with more hours, we thought about it. She has no memory of those first two, and that, there had to have been two. Maybe they didn't turn out.
You know what, I'll bet? Yeah, because everything that she took turned out. Yeah.
Could it be that they were never-
You can start, they're starting to appear when you code. Yeah, the kind that took a while to
You
come
pulled it
with.
out and gave them you.
Yeah.
And you were supposed to code it?
Yeah,
and then
put 'em in my
stop
pocket.
on it.
Okay,
Could
I
it be
would
that they
say,
never were returned to?
oh, I'm sure that's very possible.
Well, okay.
I'm
But
sure they weren't.
Picture number 3, he says it's been processed. You would know.
I would think.
I would think so. If he was the first one, the guy that just wanted to get pictures of, what happened? Picture 1 and 2.
Well, I would imagine that, knowing Mary, I'll give you on that the first 3 were of McBride. Because as they were coming down, she started taking pictures when they turned the corner, and in fact, I would say the first one is the one we got the best view of the window.
That's Gary, I was just getting ready to say, you published the one in McBride, right? And he's like maybe 50 yards on down Elm
On
Street.
down.
right?
And he's, in the pictures, she's taking a photograph of him.
Yeah.
He's no more than 20 feet away.
Right. So she started snapping as soon as he was turning that in front of, he's in the nail. So her first 2 photographs are gonna be real nice shots of the deposit slip.
I didn't want to get on to Mary since it was her camera, you know. But I clearly remember that I said, don't waste all this film. You know, because I said, I want to have a picture of this guy, you know, might be important to me later on. Yeah, and she was clicking pictures of that foolish McBride. I'm glad she did it. Yeah, I would say that the first 3 were of McBride. Because I know, yeah, I know that the first,
Yeah, the other 2 because they showed the deposit.
yeah, because see, we definitely had the
Well, it
window.
does, but then it like cut off at the 3rd or 4th
Well,
corner.
picture number 3 shows all but the last column of windows and only up to the top of the 5th floor.
Okay.
The
So
first
the first 2
picture she
shots,
had,
you showed the whole thing.
the first picture she had was clear above the box.
You see the sky?
Oh, sure.
All right.
Because see, we were at a great angle. You know, I mean, we were at a slanted angle with them coming down from the, because that's on the hill there. And when we put, and Mary's not too tall. And you know, when she did like this, and she was taking pictures, and we got the top of the building.
You see the sign?
Yeah, we got that jump up there.
You're sure?
Well, yeah. All right. See, I don't want to lead you, but now it seems to me that when we talked last month, that you made some comment about the fact that there was a picture that you recalled was something in the window, and that you either didn't get it back, or when you got it back,
It was
didn't-
gone. They took the background out of it.
Okay.
They took the background out of the picture. But Mary knows that. But you know, Mary got squirrely about this. Yeah, I know, but see, she was married too. I wasn't.
By the way, while I'm thinking about it, before I forget it, you'll find this interesting. You know, Orville Nix told how that when he got his film back, he thought that something had been done, frames were missing, and he didn't think it was the same as when he turned it in. That prompted me, when I talked to Phil Willis, I asked him if he thought anything had happened to his photographs. He too thinks that there was something done to some of his photographs. Because he said he remembered some things that wasn't there anymore after they got them back.
Okay. Okay, let's say Mary, first 3 pictures, she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
Lumpkin was the one shooting.
No. I mean, I knew him, but
Okay.
And that's not who I wanted a picture of. He was bald-headed. It doesn't see the way.
Did she take a picture of the officer that you wanted a picture of?
Yeah. He was riding on Kennedy's wheel.
Okay, so he's in that picture?
Yeah.
Okay, but the picture of Kennedy, the last one she took.
I know.
No, that camera,
That's when she hit the ground.
that camera's never been used since.
Right.
Where are the first two pictures?
Well,
Either Mary has them or it's not telling me, I don't think that.
no, I don't
I
think
think
she's
you
not.
would have.
Because, I just don't think she's, I don't think she knows. I don't think I know.
McBride?
No, definitely not McBride. Mm-mm. He doesn't
You
have any
had
of
to
them.
go through McBride to find out from London where he found the picture.
Right.
And he said he ended up coming.
He told the same story all these years.
Gene, what about your friend? Would he have had any of those?
We were never given one. That Mary never gave us one of them because the picture that Martin was in was the picture of the president, with, the shot of the president getting killed. So I never, what I went for, I never did get anything.
So then in all probability, the government has the first two pictures.
Right. Because they certainly took them that day.
Because they show the window.
That's right.
How long was it after, that they took your pictures, they took Mary's pictures that day? How long was it before you got them back from the government?
Well, it's quite a while. We didn't get them back that day that I know of. I don't remember.
Remember you said when she went home that night, she had them with her.
She didn't have all of them.
Well, that's true, but she didn't have all.
She may have had one, or I think Bill Decker got, I think, one or two back for it. That's probably one of those where they made all the copies or something. But I think we possibly took two of them home with us.
Any other questions?
If I have a question, I don't want to monopolize the meeting. I'm so pleased that you agreed to come talk with us.
I just wish you'd been here last week. I mean, last
Just a
month.
second, Gary, you have a question?
I heard you say a while ago that Officer Tibbetts, met moving out of the household after the father story. Is that right?
That's what the police think. No, that's what some of the police thought.
But when he was killed down in,
By,
Oak Cliff
yeah,
area,
by whom? By
Right.
whom?
he
Right.
killed her.
Okay. So,
The police that you know are convinced that alcohol is guilty.
yeah. But the police I know will never tell you that.
That is basically a good thing.
No, right.
That's the official story.
That's it.
I was
The official story is that Tippett got away from the book.
No,
Just that eyeball shot it.
Oh, well, everybody knows that. Sort of,
Well, that's the official story.
That's the official story, but we haven't showed the argument, so.
No, you haven't heard anything other than.
Now, see, I never listened to anybody until I got into this stuff.
I'm just thinking about the city in the park.
Yeah, no. I know they all knew real well.
Well, let me tell you a short story. I think you can shed a lot of light on. I was hired to do the film research for a documentary a couple years ago. The documentary was completed, test marketed, and couldn't drag people into. So I'm taking myself out of it. One of the places I went to was NBC News, and they don't have film footage available on computer prior to 1967, so index cards, napkins.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was written in longhand on it. And NBC's rules are, you sell footage commercially. People looking for stuff aren't allowed to go through the file. They have to get an NBC searcher and have to search it through the file. So we were going through a pile of stuff like this was film shot on November 22. And a piece of paper was in there, and it was obviously filed on, it was from much later. But it was about a film interview of Gene Hill with the FBI. Now, in your reading this information. She's reading this information, she gets to the FBI and she says, do not sell this footage. She goes, I can't discuss this with you. I said, well, you've already learned your last name. And she said, well, it says here that, and then she brought it up again. So I don't know what's in this film, but in reading the testimony, she talked about a guy that she weren't sure what his name was. His name was Henry Coates. He was the one who apparently went out to your house with the film.
Yeah, he did.
Shot himself.
Yeah, he did.
According to this little note at NBC, espionage was present. So what is this all filming going on at your house?
I don't know, ABC and CBS and NBC and BBC did it. They did. It all came at different times. Yeah.
You know, there is two pieces of film.
I know the CBS guy, well, to make this more, I'm only trying to make this more credible, okay? They can't, we did a documentary on the anniversary of his death, the 1 year anniversary, and Mary and I were taken down to the knoll area, and we had an Italian director. I mean, we had the cream of the crop. The one of the photographers, you know, and doing some of the reporting, was had just come in from Saigon. So, I mean, you know, he was one of their top guys. They brought him in to there from Saigon. Okay, so we go down there, we do all this shooting that day. They particularly liked what I said, and 90% of what was said down there that day was me. And I opened the thing and I closed it. There were some other people there besides Mary and me, you know, that I hadn't even heard of at that time. You know, I know now, you know, kind of who we were. But 90% of what was said that day was directed to me in my reply. And at that time, I know we made one entire reel practically of me, okay? And in it, I gave a bunch of theories and things that I knew at the time to be true, or that I'm saying now for the first time. But little sort of insights that I've given tonight, I gave a lot of them that night, at that first anniversary. This photographer, whatever, I went out to dinner with him. Out at Love Field at a place that had Tahitian food. Do you remember a place like that? Or are you that old?
Well, I wasn't here.
You're not that old.
There was a place.
Okay, you do remember.
Trader
Okay.
Vic.
I don't know what it was, but that was
The
Was it? I don't know. Okay. All right, the whole crew with our Italian director, excuse me, a little bit. We all went out there to the luau room. Of course, I'd never been there. I don't know about that. But the guy bought me a whole set of hula girl cups. You know, you can't buy them six and done, so. But, you know, he bought me the whole case of them, you know, because he was so enamored. And,
True love.
yeah, and of course, when I started drinking a little bit, tasted off again, and they told me to find out what she was doing. I drank it, and I was really getting loose, and I realized what I was doing, you know. That time I didn't care, but I was really talking, and I was really telling them everything I knew. And so, anyhow, I pulled myself away and went home. But the whole thing of it is, this man asked me to go to the convention in Miami. I think that's where it was. Presidential nominating convention. And he had to go cover that. And I started to go with him there. He was going to send me a ticket and everything. So he called me several times after that. But we never could figure out where to sleep because you had to be down there overnight. And my mother wouldn't let me, doesn't matter. So I foolishly didn't go. You know, I wish I had. But, and I tell you, I'm really telling you all that for a reason. This man kept calling me. And he was gonna get me my own copy of this documentary thing that they did. And he was gonna get the whole set and give it to me as a present. Told you all the rest of it, to tell you why he would give it to me, you know, because he really kind of thought of something else. And, so, he called me about a week or two before that, no, I guess it would be about a month or so, before the thing was there. And he said, Gene, I got some bad news for you. And I said, oh, you can't get me my copy, my own copy. And he said, no, we can't even find the reel you're on. He said, it's completely gone. He said, we found all the rest of them, but that reel is completely missing. And why would just that one reel be missing out of the whole reel?
In the first month after the assassination, you were interviewed by media people.
Yeah. Yeah. But then I had a lot of sense, you know. I didn't tell them anything. Not really. Just dumb things. Because Martin told me the dumber I acted, the quicker they got off my case. And I've really made some angry remarks. You know,
You're not making any remarks now, are you?
Oh, no. But he told me, you know, he said that, you know, we just really didn't want to go public. We want to stay in the closet. And he said, you know, the quicker you tell these kind of things, the quicker you will get rid of them.
How many shots did you get?
4 to 6.
Would you lean one way or the other?
Yeah, I'd lean to 6.
You never changed that, huh?
No, and if they really tried to make me change it. No, 3 bullets, that's all we need.
When you were
That's
being
what they always
questioned-
told me.
When you were being questioned that first day, did anyone at any time seriously try to get you to change your 46 estimate?
Yeah, those guys up there in that upstairs window did it.
Do you think they were doing it to see how sure you were of what you were saying?
No,
Or were they
because
trying to...
they just told me how many there were, and I was accepted.
How about after that first day?
Oh, I've had a bunch of that stuff changed, you know, try to get me changed.
I mean, official, quote-unquote, people.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, always.
When you say 46 shots, how did they react?
Well, they didn't know. That I couldn't have. They tell me I couldn't have heard it. That I was hearing echoes. That I probably didn't know anything about a gun. And that I'd probably been told that. You know, I was seeking publicity. You know, all these various things. They use one excuse or another one all the time.
I understand, and I think we all understand, it is very difficult to recall a lot of this stuff at this point. But I bet you some of this is still pretty clear. Like, when the first shot was fired, and when the last shot was fired, where in relation to that last picture of Mary Clerk, was that closer toward the first shot, or was that toward the end of the shoot?
Probably not me. You know, more towards the front. So, no, it just has to be right after about the middle.
You heard shots before that picture was taken and after.
Yeah.
Because
I heard shots.
Heard shots before you hollered at the president?
Yeah, no, I hollered the president, and just as he turned, I heard a shot before it, and then the next shot blew his head off. Either the second or third shot blew his head off.
So you did hear some shots before it hit?
Yeah.
You're not sure whether it was the second or the third?
No, I'm not too sure in that. But it was kind
One of
of,
the middle shots.
yeah, it was kind of a staccato, you know, set up thing.
Mary told me that the first shot she heard was at the moment she took the picture.
No, I imagine that's what Mary thought.
Is that indifferent at all?
Yeah, I think that,
I'm sorry. Has she ever told you anything other?
we were never allowed to talk about it again. And we never did. We got
You
into it.
remained in touch all these years.
Yeah,
Good friends throughout most of the period, if not all of it.
Most of it.
You never discussed?
No.
I mean, she said you weren't allowed to, who didn't allow you to?
Her, McBride and Martin
But,
told us neither one to discuss it, just shut up about it, so we did.
boy, Watergate has only happened early. It probably wouldn't have done something.
Right, we wouldn't, no.
Gary, I don't want to try to rush you, but we do have some other people
Yeah.
we want to hear from.
I have one question. Are you telling me that all the testimony that you gave to the Warren Commission at no time did you take any kind of oath to tell the truth? There was nothing official?
No,
Well, if they didn't swear you in, or they
no,
didn't say no to the military nation.
no. I just went up there and he said about trying to confuse me.
Okay, final question. In regards to your Warren Commission testimony, you have now had a chance to read back through your Warren Commission testimony, right?
Yeah, and
Do
it's
you
a great
feel
fairy
like,
tale.
do you feel like that is an accurate representation of what you told the Warren Commission?
It's a grim fairy tale,
Okay,
from start to finish.
I'll rest my case. Okay, do we want to take